Welcome to the kitchen of the Black Sheep restaurant this morning. My name is Chef Tyler Sailsbery, and we're going to be talking through some different butter compounds. So today we are using Grassland products here, and we love working with butter, and we love working with the best. And Grassland just happened to win the World Championship cheese contest in their salted butter, so they're number one, and we're happy to do that. We're happy to work with, again, a great Wisconsin product that works with Wisconsin family farms. So as you can see, we've got our basil, our lemon, and that's how we're going to go ahead and roll out this compound butter that we can keep as the seasons change and top a number of different items. And I went ahead and opened that up for you and got some ready for us. This is a half a pound. This is a half a container, so a half a pound of butter. We're going to make a basil compound butter. We've got our butter ready to go, and then we're going to go ahead and do a chiffonade of basil. So we've got some basil leaves, and anytime you're doing a flat herb like this, it's got a little bit larger size. What you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to stack those leaves. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you're just going to go ahead and pull them apart and stack them on top of each other. And then you're going to roll them up here to make the chiffonade. And so we're just rolling them into a nice tight bundle, and that's just going to allow us to cut through them faster. And then we've got our knife, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to cut through, and it makes these really nice long strips, and these are great for decoration. We're going to do these a little bit later on when we make a squash dish, but we just run the knife through those, and they make these really nice fine dices, and you can see that didn't take long at all using that technique. So we've got our basil, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw that right in with our butter. And we're going to go ahead and juice a lemon. And any time that you're juicing a lemon, you're always going to want to roll it on the table here to get those juices flowing. So you're going to roll that out just like that. And then you're going to cut it right in half. And we've got a handy-dandy little press here. But if you don't have one of those at home, you can squeeze it and use your other hand to catch the seeds. But otherwise, these work really, really well for our application. Get all that juice out of there, and that's going to help preserve that fresh taste in these compound butters. Again, this is something that you can do with flat leaf parsley or sage or cilantro for a number of different applications. We do a brown butter by using sage, doing the exact same thing, but in the fall using sage, and that works really well with our fall like squashes and other vegetables. So we're just going to go ahead and mix these together just to incorporate them with one another. And once those are nicely incorporated, we can go ahead and spread this out. Now we're using a room temperature butter, so we don't melt that on the stove because then the fats and the solids will separate. We want to make sure that we're letting that sit at room temperature so that all kind of softens together and nothing separates. So once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and take some cling wrap here. And just roll that out. And then we're going to go ahead and stick our butter right in the middle here. And you can see those herbs are spread pretty evenly throughout. And then all you're going to do is you're going to come on one end and you're going to kind of pull it over and then pull it back just like this. It's okay if a little butter escapes on you, that's not the end of the world. And then we're going to go ahead and just roll that up. So I'm going to bring that over so you can see that a little bit better. I'm going to roll it up just like this. Nice, great log. This can make for a great presentation if you want to just cut a wedge off and put it on a steak. We do that with some blue cheese and flat leaf parsley. Again, roll that up. And it's okay to get it kind of tight in there. And again, now we've got this great compound butter that we can put in our pasta. Again, we can use a number of different herb varieties to make a number of these and preserve that. You can preserve this in the refrigerator for a couple weeks. Otherwise, we can go ahead and put that in the freezer and it'll stay for a couple months. We are in the kitchens of the Black Sheep here, and we're going to go ahead and make a seasoned nut here. So what I went ahead and did is I roasted these nuts at 350 for about 20-25 minutes. And now I'm just going to mix in some ingredients to spice these up a little bit. So this is cayenne. You can be a little light on the cayenne there, as it's pretty strong. Unless you really enjoy heat, then you're going to go ahead and go on as heavy as you'd like. We've got some cinnamon. And this is a mild curry. You can look for, again, mild or spicy, but yellow curries are typically fairly mild. And then we've got two very important ingredients here that are really going to help stick these together. So we've got the nuts roasted and hot, and we're going to go ahead and put some honey in there. And then we're going to go ahead and also throw some butter in here. And the butter is very important in this. We've got Grassland butter, which does a great job, a great butter here from Wisconsin. And because those nuts are hot, this is going to melt, and this is going to go ahead and allow us to have those ingredients go ahead and stick to these nuts. So without this butter, we'll just have dry seasoning and nuts here. So this is going to allow it to stick together, and then we can use these nuts to top salads or in this dish a little bit later on our pasta. Welcome to the continuation of our recipe using our herb butter here. We've got some butternut squash, and we just half that and scrape that. I'm going to take the herb butter that we made a little bit earlier. We're just going to go ahead and spread that on top of here. Room temperature is great with that. And slide that in there. And then we're going to take some onions here, and we just finely dice those onions. And we're going to throw them in there and take a couple more pats of this butter and let that go. And then we're going to cover this with aluminum foil and just throw this in the oven to bake. And that's going to soften up. And so we've got some softened squash. While that's cooking, we're going to go ahead and get our pasta rolling here. So we've got our pasta, and we're throwing that in just a pot of boiling water. And we love that water boiling with a little bit of that starch. We want the starch from the pasta, which is really going to be kind of the sauce for this recipe. So that pasta is cooking away here and just takes a couple minutes. We love when we use like a nice thin pasta, so that takes just a couple minutes there. And as that's cooking, we're just going to get the rest of our ingredients ready here. We've got some salt, pepper, and goat cheese. And all we're going to do is as soon as that pasta comes out, we're going to take that cooked squash and we're going to throw that in that pan with that goat cheese to make that sauce. So I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. And so now we've gone ahead and we cooked our squash, and all I did was scoop out the middle of the squash with a little bit of the onion and the herb butter here. And we're going to go ahead and finish the final assembly of this product. So I've got my pasta that I just pulled out of the water, and I'm going to put about 1/3 cup of goat cheese in here. So we're just going to take a big old chunk of goat cheese. And there's about a reserved 1 cup of water in here. And the reason we want that water is that's going to create the sauce with this cheese. We want this cheese to kind of loosen up just a little bit. We're going to throw a couple more pads of this basil in here to get a little bit more of that flavor in there. And then we've got some basil, and we're just going to quickly run the knife through that just twice or 3 times there to get that really nice fresh flavor at the end. So we've got some of that in the butter. And then we're just going to go ahead and take some of our squash, and we're going to mix this in here as well. So put our squash in here. And as you can see, we're just mixing this up. We're going to throw our cheese in. And we don't want to overmix this, so we want the pasta to still have some life to it, some volume to it. So it's okay that the squash is still in chunks there. We're going to throw our cheese in. And then we're just grabbing a plate. And again, you saw us make those nuts a little bit earlier on. So we're just going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit more of these on top. A little bit of this cheese. And then we love these microgreens on here. These microgreens just add a little bit of extra crunch and some extra nutrients to this. So this makes it a really nice, fun dish, especially this time of year when we don't have quite the selection of fresh produce to use. This is something in season right now that you can do well.